This is the third book critique. It contains poetry, easy-to-read picture books, traditional literature, picture storybooks, and a folklore book. The featured text for this book critique is Joyful Noise. I chose this book because of the illustrations and the unique way the author relayed the insect information to the reader. The poetry book contains multiple poems about different insects, including fireflies, water striders, and grasshoppers. I chose to do a science and language arts lesson for the featured text. For the science lesson, the students will be observing the use of fossil evidence and living organisms to observe that suitable habitats depend upon a combination of biotic and abiotic factors. First, the teacher will contact one of the anthropology professors at Franciscan University to see if he or she will be interested in presenting on the topic in her classroom. She will use the poetry book to teach the students about specific bugs and their impact on the world around them. She will give an outline of what she has taught the class about the specific bugs to the professor. The teacher will read the story aloud using a think aloud. The students and the teacher will work together to create a list of questions for the professor to answer. Once the presentation is over, the class will write 3 items they learned and share them with their parents. In the language arts lesson plan, the students will learn about the different structural elements that are used in poetry. First, the teacher will start the lesson by reading a simple poem from the book. After reading, the teacher will begin the lesson on the structure of poetry by displaying the poem on the overhead as a visual model for the students. The teacher will explain the activity for the lesson, which is that they will be using a poetry generator to create their own poem. I've created a poem as a model for my students, but I will also model for all of you how the website works as well. This is the poem creator that I am using. First, you can type in your name, size, you have the option, animal, I'm going to choose dog, color, you have an option to change, I'm going to do purple, covering, I'm going to do fur since it's a dog, thing, bubblegum, place, we'll do school, group, I'm going to leave it as teachers, action 1, I'm going to say laugh, and action 2, I'm going to say sing. Then all you have to do is hit create a poem, and it pops up, and this is the poem it did. It made it to Mary Had a Little Lamb. Gabrielle had a large dog. Its fur was purple as bubblegum, and everywhere that Gabrielle went, the dog was sure to go. It followed Gabrielle to school one day, which was against the rules. It made the teacher laugh and sing to see the dog at school. The Three Pigs is not the original story regarding the 3 little pigs. The story starts off like the original text, but it soon changes. The pigs escape the wrath of the big bad wolf, and they enter into different fairy tale stories. When the wolf reaches the house that was made out of brick, the little pigs had already brought a big visitor back from another story to scare the wolf away. When the wolf knocked at the door, a huge dragon opens the door and scares the wolf away. A Sick Day for Amos McGee is about a man who works at the zoo and has a schedule that he goes by every morning. One morning he awoke with a cold and he did not feel good enough to go to work. The animals that he usually visited were lonely and worried about their friends, so they left the zoo and took care of Amos McGee while he was sick. Animals of the Bible is a really interesting book that contains the stories of all the animals that were in the Old and New Testament. The book also contains pictures of the different animals for the children to see what the animals look like. Strega Nona is about a witch who has a magical pasta pot. She went to visit her friend and left a young man who was doing some work for her in charge. He took her pot to show the rest of the townspeople that it could cook pasta on its own, but once it started, he could not get the pot to stop. When Strega Nona returned, she saw all the pasta covering the town. She made the young boy eat it all up as his punishment for using the pot that she told him not to touch.